All right, students in Art 1. So we are going to move on to learning about value. After you've watched the video about value, what it is, how to look at pictures and see value, this is the next step that you are going to do. So when it comes to this, you need a number 2 pencil, wooden pencil. Mechanical pencils are not okay. So wooden pencil, a ruler, or some kind of straight edge is what you'll need, and the eraser must be good. So on your pencil, make sure you have a good eraser or have a separate big eraser on the side. So just make sure you have an eraser, a wooden pencil, and a ruler or some kind of straight edge, and I'll talk about some other options if you don't have a ruler, which could be a book. So a book has a straight edge, another pencil has a straight edge. You could use a folder. Anything that has a nice straight, sturdy, straight edge will work. So what we're going to do first is we're going to practice drawing value scales. So on a sheet of copy paper and your sketchbook, this is what you're going to do first. So what I did was I just made a long strip, a rectangle, and I divided it up into 10 boxes. Then under that, I did another rectangle, but I did not draw any lines. So this first one is going to be our value scale. And some of you may have made these before, and I'm going to number them 1 through 10. Okay? So 1 is going to be our lightest value, and 10 is going to be our darkest value, which is black. So we're going to start with 10, and what you're going to do is you're going to press as hard as you can using the side of your pencil to get the darkest value you can with your pencil. So I'm going to push with the side. I am not using the tip. I'm not right on top of it. I'm holding it kind of like this. You can hold it like this if you want. However, it's comfortable in your hand. I like pushing down with my pointer finger. And you're just going to shade. And turn the paper. I'm just going to make sure it's nice and even and as dark as I can get it. It's going to be nice and shiny from the lead. Once I get my 10, that's black. Then I'm going to move into my 5, which is my middle gray value. And I'm actually going to cover from 5 to 9. So that's going to be a lighter pressure. Value is all about control of your hand on how hard you push on the paper and how light you push on the paper. So I'm going to cover that up in a kind of a medium gray, not too dark, not too light. The reason I'm covering 5 through 9 is because everything after 5 is going to be darker than 5. So it doesn't really matter what it is right now. We work in layers of pencil. So that's a good medium gray for my 5. Then I'm going to work on 6, and it's going to get darker than 5. So I'm going to add another layer of pencil. I'm looking for the slightest difference from 5 to 6. Making sure it's nice and even, still using the side of my pencil. If I go outside of my lines, I'm going to erase. Okay, make sure it's nice and neat. Then 7 is going to be a little bit darker than 6. Get a little messier this time. I like to turn my paper, going one direction with the pencil and then turning it going the opposite direction helps get rid of streaks so it doesn't look so messy. Okay, so you're starting to see a slight difference from 5, 6, 7, and then 8's going to be even darker. And then 9 is going to be even darker than 8, but and close to that black, but not quite black. Okay, so there's these are called gradients. So when a value or a color gradually changes from dark to light, these are called gradients. Okay. So every time I talk about gradients, it's talking about a value. So then we got 4, 3, 2, and I'm not going to touch 1 because it is staying white. So I'm going lighter than 5 and 4. And I'm barely touching the paper at all, not much pressure. Then 3 is going to be lighter than 4. And 2 is going to be barely anything. Might go back and add a little bit extra to these. Okay, so there's our value scale. Next up, for the second part, you're going to need a tissue, a Q-tip, or a paper towel, some kind of smudging device, not your fingers, a Q-tip, paper towel, or a tissue, like a Kleenex. So this second value scale is going to be the same thing as what we did up here, but this time you don't have these lines separating the box. You're going to practice doing the value scale again, but purely on how hard and light you push with your pencil. So once again, light end, dark end. I'm starting with this side. So I am going to use the side of my pencil, and I'm kind of referencing above what I'm doing. I want to get as dark as those values. So I'm going to turn my paper because sometimes that helps. Some of you might have drawing pencils at home. If you have drawing pencils at home, feel free to use them. Get to know them a little bit more if you want. But we're going to just focus on number 2 pencils in Art 1. We might get to drawing pencils in Art 2 next year. All right, so this is where a Q-tip. I even have this little cotton round from taking off makeup. That would work too. Toilet paper. And then I'm going to kind of smudge in a round circular motion, and someone described it as magic, and it is kind of like magic, and it smudges out all of these lines that I had with my pencil so that I don't see streaks. So it makes it nice and smooth. So this is a smooth blending technique. I may try this thing, see how it works. Might work out pretty good. So this is a cotton round, if you have cotton rounds at home. Once again, I'm referencing above so I can see I need to get a little darker in some of these areas. When I get outside the lines, I might erase a little bit so it's nice and clean. All right, the last step that we did in class was so this is the worksheet we're kind of recreating as an online student. So now it's time to just practice these pictures, which I attached in Canvas. And there's more of these ones. So you are gonna have to hand draw these boxes on your own and just copy these values that you see referenced on Canvas on this paper. So I'm gonna do that right now. I'm gonna make my own boxes and squares and whatnot. And these can be free-handed. You can use a ruler if you'd like. So I'll do a couple of these with you together, and then the last few are going to be on your own. So I'll do these 3 just to show you some ways. And you will still need that Q-tip, cotton round, tissue, paper towel, anything to smudge. The reason we don't smudge with our fingers is because we have oils on our fingers and they soak into paper. You never smudge with your fingers. Not a good idea. It does not work as well as these do. This is the one I'm doing. So I'm looking at how dark to light it is, and I might start using my eraser. So I'm going to start with the left side. I often start with the left side only because I'm right-handed and I don't want my hand to smear across and smudge things I don't want smudged when I'm done. So if you're right-handed, I would start with the right side of anything that you draw in pencil, just so you don't smudge. And then it gets... Okay, circular motions, and I go up and down a little bit too. Then I'm going to work on the second one. So it's just kind of the same thing. Just look at the darks, look at the lights, and then you go on to all these other ones. Look at the darks, look at the lights. There's not really a good starting point. Just start with one of the outside, the inside. Doesn't matter. You have an eraser. Erasers are made for mistakes, so use your eraser as much as possible. Okay, so that is the first step of learning about value.